Hey guys, I'm Ilya and this is another episode of me trying to turn Claude Code subscription and idea into $1 million SaaS. So in this video, I will explain what kind of product improvements have been done over the past 2 weeks. Then also a big milestone is achieved. I finally submitted my app for meta app review and I will explain the core concepts that you need to have in order to submit your own app for meta app review. Then I will explain how further development will happen because right now I can't touch any more live production version of the app because it will be seen and tested by the reviewer, and when this happens we don't want anything broken there. And then I will explain also the further vision of the platform, how I'm thinking I will turn these vibe coding sessions into an actual software company and the actual product people pay money for. So if you want to follow my journey, hit like and subscribe and let's go. Okay guys, so this product update is focused mostly on Meta app review because Meta doesn't care if you have a lot of shiny cool looking features. They care about the features that work with the permissions that you're requesting from them. So it was mostly focused for Meta and therefore it doesn't have this wow effect as you would expect. So for example, I mean, there are some tiny things like this. Right now there is a new logo with this like small smiley globe, it's like super cute looking. But then there are important things like, for example, the account in the account section. So now we have account section, and there it's possible to connect or disconnect Instagram account. Honestly, this is not 100% required by Meta, but it's kind of like nice to have, and it makes absolute logical sense for the actual users. And also it's very good for demonstration purposes because you have to record a video how you use your app before you submit for Meta app review. And well, this kind of thing proves why do I need some specific permissions, like for example Instagram basic permission. So disconnect, I press disconnect, it's disconnected. When I press connect, it goes to the OAuth window where I connect my IG again. And then another important thing is the delete account and data. This is actually required by Meta, and when I press delete my account and data, it deletes it deletes all the data associated with this account, and obviously disconnects my IG as well. And without this, your probability of rejection is about 100%. Then there are some other tiny things, like for example, privacy policy and terms of service are visible here, as well as the name of my company. So when you click on them, these files are open, and they are not anymore AI slop. So these are legit documents, and they perfectly explain what the app does do and what it doesn't, and how do we handle data. And yeah, I checked them probably 100 times, like each of them. So it's super important that these are not just some placeholder text, but the actual text explaining like what does your service do. Because well, you need to have them here in app settings basic. You put them here, and they do check it well, as well as this cute icon. Then another small but important thing is that I built also a separate login page for the reviewer, which is here. So it's reviewer access, and the reviewer gets dedicated email and access code, which is basically email and password. I had to build it because, well, my current login looks like this. So it's a gated OTP login. So you enter your email address. If it's in the whitelist, you get a 6-digit code, and you enter the code, and then you have an account. But the reviewer won't get any code. They don't do this kind of stuff. They just need a separate login page. So that's why this one is built. Then there was also quite interesting bug that I found out just by accident in the inbox section. In the inbox page of the app, you can see this small icons for the chats that we have here. And well, that's, I mean, obvious and not surprising, like a thing that you would expect from this kind of service. But the trick is that once I logged into one of the accounts and realized that all of them are broken. Well, not all, some of them are broken. I'm like, okay, interesting, why? So it turns out that with MetaGraph API, we get the URL for this image, and that's how images are displayed in the interface. And actually these URLs, it turns out that they expire in 3 days. So in order to fix it, I had to build another feature, which basically polls this URL. I think it does it once a day, so every day these are fresh profile pictures, and they never expire. So these are some small things, and yeah, I guess you would have expected more, but again, like there was also a lot of testing done for the app, like how the agent communicates, how the handover protocol works, because when you just build, like try to one-shot it with AI, I mean, obviously it all looks nice and clean, but when you actually start testing, like going into details, you realize that the responses are crappy, and half of the features, they don't work, or they work not as they're supposed to, and then you start all this like bug fixing in cycles. So it takes a lot of time actually to make it work properly, because, well, right now the core features that are needed for the meta app review, they supposed to work perfectly, and that's what I was doing all these 2 weeks basically. Yeah, so that's it for the current product update for the meta app reviewer. In the next section, I will cover in more details how to actually submit for one, and then there are also some other product improvements I will show a bit later, but they're not in production, so they're not on chat.volvox.ai, they're on localhost. But yeah, about this later. That also comes together with the way how the product is being built from now on. So let's go for meta app review and check how do you submit for the actual review. So it all starts here on developers.facebook.com, and you should start with app settings basic. So here we just fill the basic information about our app, for example, app domains, well, display name, contact email, stuff like this, privacy policy URL, terms of service URL, our app icon, that's a mandatory requirement, then app category, and also user data deletion with the deletion callback URL. Not gonna go into details, you can ask Claude how to do this, very straightforward process. On top of this, we can't do meta app review until our portfolio is verified. So there is a button, just click verify your portfolio. One caveat is that you should have an LLC, and if you have LLC, it's also straightforward process. For me it took like 20 minutes and less than a day to get verified, but without this we can't do meta app review. So once you have all of this, you can actually switch your app mode from development to live, and then do some proper testing. So just jumping a bit forward. So what does meta app review actually mean? So if we go to app review and permissions and features, we can see a bunch of different permissions here, like lots of them. So essentially meta app review allows you, like gives you advanced access to some specific features. So for example, in my particular review, I needed two permissions. First, Instagram business manage messages. It essentially allows my app to manage messages on behalf of somebody else's account. So if a person connects to my platform, becomes a customer, and my agent starts to reply on behalf of this person, so to do this, it's essentially managing messages on behalf of this account, I need to have advanced access. If I have only standard access like I do right now, before my review is passed, I can only do this with the test users. Same goes here with the Instagram Business Basic. Let me find it. So yeah, Instagram Business Basic. This permission just allows you to kind of scrape Instagram of the connected account and get all the details like profile information and also media. So like posts, comments, actually I'm not sure about comments, but posts, captions, this type of information. So just to grasp the general information about the account. So also to enable the permission, enable the review for these permissions, you should have some API calls going on before the review, before you submit for review. For example, here I have over 1,000 API calls, and they're almost 1,000. So how do you get these API calls when actually you can't properly like test them because you have standard access, you don't have advanced access? So like how do you do this? Well, you do it with test users. So if you go to app roles and test users, roles, here I have a bunch of users. So all of these accounts are Instagram tester, and for example this one, Volvox chat, it's connected here as you can see. So in account section, connected as Volvox chat, we can also see it here, live as Volvox chat. And yeah, so this is a tester account, and that's the only reason why I was able to connect this account to my app and get all this business information like profile bio, posts, captions, and also manage messages without advanced access. So hopefully it makes sense. Once I have advanced access, so once the meta app review is passed and the app is approved, I will be able to scrape the profile, media and captions and manage messages for any account that connects, not only tester accounts. That's the whole basically difference. So right now it's gated only for testers, but once the review is passed, it's open for general public, so you can just go with any account, which basically means going with your users. So now when you get all the basics set up, you're wondering how do I actually submit for the actual meta app review. And well, at least in Words, it's quite a simple process. So you go to app review and permissions and features, and here, once you have all the basics set up, your app is live and you did enough API calls, I think it should be more than one within the past 30 days, you will have this button here which looks kind of like this. So it becomes clickable, request advanced access. For the email, I know it's not on the user, I have no idea why we have this button available, but okay. So before you do any API calls, it's kind of like this, so it's like unclickable essentially. And when you click it, you open the application, and this application, you have to be prepared. It consists of two big parts. Well, the most time consuming part is the screencast. So essentially you have to make a video. How do you use this specific permission in your app? And yeah, you just show the process, like how do you use it, and so it makes sense for the reviewer. Also, it kind of acts at the same time as a detailed instruction for the reviewer how to do specific actions on your platform, and to prove that you need this permission. And it all comes combined with the text that explains what kind of why do you need it, why is it important, what are the instructions for the reviewer, and why do you need it, like in overall. So for example, here I made, obviously the biggest pain in the ass is that you have to, for each separate permission, you have to make separate screencast. You also have to have burned in subtitles. So for example, this one is for well Instagram business basic permission, and here I show like also you can see the burned in subtitles explaining every single step that I'm doing, every single action that I'm doing while on the app. And here I'm just explaining, so like I'm disconnecting, then connecting my IG, and then just like showing, so okay, so we have here I even mentioned the permissions, so Instagram business basic and manage messages. And yeah, so I'm showing that, you know, there is nothing in the knowledge base, but once we're connected and once we scan the IG, we get all the information necessary that we need, that the agents need to reply in the specific tone and with all the information about the business. So I mean, in my opinion, I haven't passed yet the review, but in my opinion, it's kind of clear, at least it should be clear, that why exactly do I need this permission. For me, the use case is quite obvious, but I don't know, like let's see when I get approved for this. But that's how the screencast basically looks like. So it's just a video kind of tutorial like I'm doing here, but with the burned in subtitles explaining every single action. So what's going on here, like on the video with this, yeah, with the app. And yeah, you submit it with the text, and then yeah, you just pray and that everything goes smoothly. Because the trick is that so here I have the request. So for example, I submitted it, I think last Sunday, so just a couple of days ago, and it says most submissions are reviewed within 20 days. So for 20 days now I have to wait. I can't touch my production, and within 20 days it will be reviewed and there will be some feedback. So if you mess this part up, then you wait and you have to reproduce everything. They don't accept old screencasts. You have to film new videos, make new captions, subtitles, do everything from the beginning, and then submit it again and wait again 20 days. So if you're sloppy with this, it can take months. I've read that for some people it takes month. And this is the big part, because well, big pain, because well, who wants to put the whole app on hold because of meta for month, right? All right, so now we submitted the app for meta app review, and the review takes about 20 days. So within this 20 days, when the reviewer opens the app should match exactly the screencast video we recorded a few days ago. So does it mean that within this 20 days the whole development is frozen and we can't ship any more features, right? Wrong, we can. And to solve this problem, there is this thing called integration branch. Okay guys, to explain the concept of integration branch, I first have to make sure that you understand how Git works. So here is the basic schema of how Git works. So main line is essentially the original source code of our app. So this is the original copy of our app, and each green dot represents an update, kind of like saved improvement, like updated and saved copy of the app. So we have this app here, like in the initial phase, then we do some changes, and then we make commit, so we save these changes, and then this new dot happens here. So we do it like this, and then at some point we're like, okay, so how the actual feature development happens? If we have to develop, for instance, one big feature, and it's called feature X, some kind of like big improvement on the app. So what we do, we create a copy of the main, the copy of our source code here, which is essentially called new branch. So we create a branch. Feature X is its own branch. And this branch is essentially here is just a copy of the main. So then we can improve on the feature. So we do some changes, we save them, then we do some more changes, then we save them, then we do some more changes and we save them. And once here we realize that, okay, so now the feature is done and tested, we can merge it into main. So here at this point, it is basically main, what it was here before, plus the feature X. So it was a separate branch, the feature X, and now it's merged to main. So now it's all kind of like one combined. You might ask, why do we actually need branches if we can do the changes on the main directly? Well, there are a few reasons. Like reason number one is safety. So you can think of main as the working proper copy of your app. So everything works nice here, it's published, you don't want to break it. And when you start developing new feature like feature X, this development is usually messy. So you build things, then you break things, then you have to edit, then you delete something. So it kind of like messy development, and you don't want to have all this mess on your main working copy. You want it in the separate kind of like safe isolated copy. So that's one reason. So you have all this like messy development, and once you finalize it and test it, and now it's also nice and clean, you can merge it. You can kind of like fold this feature into the main working copy. Another thing is also parallel work. So for example, I like developer one can, for example, work on feature X, while at the same time we can create another branch for feature Y that will be here. It will also have the same working copy of the main, and it will be completely different feature that will be built by the developer 2, for example. And we can do it in parallel without breaking each other's code, and just have this kind of like working separate. And once my feature is done, I merge it, and when the developer's 2 feature done, he can also merge it, and then it's all nice and clean without any mess. Now this is how the Git looks like with the integration branch. While this whole thing might look complex on the first sight, but don't worry, I will explain just in a second. It's pretty easy. So again, here we have main, which is our main working copy. And well, the difference is that, it's kind of the same. So we have this feature X and feature Y that we can just create their own branches. So like branch 1 for feature X. So we can kind of isolate the development on feature X. Then we create another branch of feature Y, also kind of like isolate the development of feature Y. But the difference between what we had before is that here, once we're done with the development of the feature X and the feature Y, we don't merge it back to main. We merge it to another branch, which is called integration branch. So you can think of it that here at this initial point of integration branch, and here at the initial point of feature X branch, and here at the initial point of feature Y branch, all of these, they are basically the same working copy of main at this stage. So it's just a working copy of our app. And the main difference is that we create this integration branch, which is kind of working copy of the main, and we keep it kind of in parallel with main, and once feature X is done, we merge it not to main but to integration, and once the feature Y is done, we also merge it not to main but to integration branch. So essentially, after these merges, integration branch, it's basically same working copy as main, but with feature X and Y implemented and without touching main. So we need this particularly, for example, for meta app review, because during this process, like while we are waiting for meta app review for this 20 days or whatever, we can't do much changes because we don't want to break something or change the interface, because as I explained earlier, the reviewer has to see exactly the same interface as in the screencast, which was recorded a few days ago. So it can be like 2-3 weeks old video, so we don't want to change anything there. So at this point, we just continue our normal work on the integration branch. We build new features, we merge them, we test them, and once we pass the meta app review, we're like, okay, so this feature is tested, works fine. This feature is tested, works fine. Then there is maybe, I don't know, 20 other features that all tested and all of them work nice and fine, and all of them are merged in the integration, and integration branch itself also works fine without any issues. So we're like, okay, so now we passed the meta app review, and therefore we can just, merge all the features we built during this time, not to integration, but to main. So we just, it was merged initially to integration, and then we merge it here to main. Feature Y was initially merged to integration and tested during the review, but okay, now the review is passed, so we also merge it to main. And essentially after this like one after another merges, we essentially get main to the same state that integration branch was during the review, and once it's done, we can just delete integration branch because we don't need it. That's actually how the big boys build their apps in big companies, because main is kind of a sacred original copy of the app, and you don't mess with it. You only ship features there at the right moment, at the right time. These features should be properly tested because you don't break main. It's a sacred thing. So you do all kinds of development in separate branches for each of the feature. We can also build like smaller features on this feature X branch, for example. We can make another branch and then build some feature and then merge it. Or like it's like kind of, like tree topology, so we can go as many layers as we want. And we all test them on integration branch, and once it's all nice and clean and tested, then we can merge this feature to main. So main always nice and tested and doesn't break in front of the customers or reviewer eyes. Okay guys, so now to wrap up the explanation about the integration branch, so here's a good example. So this is chat.volvix.ai. This is the public production version of the website. So even though it's a different account, it's a Volvix chat account, and Volvix chat Instagram is linked there. The reviewer, for example, has volvixchat.demo linked account. Still, since it's production, if I do any changes and merge them to main, they will be visible across all accounts in production. So obviously the reviewer will see it. But since we're working now on integration branch, we don't see it in production anymore. So once we do some changes and then we merge it with integration branch, we don't see them anymore in production because we don't merge them with main yet. So for this reason, we need localhost. So now, yeah, you can see same account, also Volvix chat, but it's in localhost. So it's kind of a copy of the production of this guy here. It's the same copy, but with all the changes that we do in localhost. In integration branch. So for example, if you go to knowledge base, I did some small changes here, and then we go into knowledge base here. You see here is it's the old view like it was before. So I realized, for example, that once you pass the onboarding stage, you can't anymore upload any documents except PDF. So you can't rescan your IG, can't add free text, or can't crawl the website, which is kind of ridiculous. So well, I want to fix it, but I can't anymore because, well, the website is live, and this live version is on the screencast that I sent to the reviewer in Meta, so they should match, so we can't change this. So now I do all the changes in the localhost in the integration branch. So you can see here we did some improvements. So for example, we can upload PDF, and then we can rescan Instagram. Then I can also crawl the website and also add free text. There was also a small improvement with the website crawling, because I realized that AI basically one-shotted it, so it crawls only one specific page that you enter here, and that doesn't crawl any other. So that's a bit ridiculous, because you can't get that much context from a multi-page website if you crawl only one page. So I fixed that with the strict guardrails, because, well, if it's 1000 pages website, we also don't want to crawl all that. So it has a limit of 25 pages. So that's pretty much it from the improvement perspective. I'm also working on the message buffering thing. So for example, right now, well, I'm not sure if I have any good examples here, but right now you send a message, and it kind of like each single, like every single message is is like a separate request to LLM, and it also replies in one message only. But I'm trying to make it so if, for example, you say like yo, one message, what's up, another message, how are you, another message, and all of them are, for example, sent within a span of 15 seconds, AI treats them not like 3 separate messages, but one big message. Also, if AI has more to say than just like this basic stuff like good to hear, how are you, if it drops some big text, I'm also planning to split this text into smaller chunks, and also that they will come like as separate messages. So essentially, this way, I'm trying to make the AI like less robotic, because, well, I mean, robotic in this case, I think is kind of lame. So this all comes also to the last part, the vision for the product from now on. So I was thinking what I should build next, because obviously with Claude Code you can build all kinds of shiny features like in minutes basically. But the problem is that, again, you don't want like 100 different features that barely work, or just they look nice but they barely work. You want few core features that are the most important for your app, but that work like 150%, they work perfectly. So that's what I call the vertical development concept, is that, for example, my particular application is, well, it's a platform to build chatbots. So like, I mean, obviously it's kind of like Instagram, like social media customer support automation, so you can kind of squeeze a lot of in this concept. But initially, this is the platform to automate communication with the clients. And while I can start building all kinds of like cool like analytic dashboards, or like some stuff with like with even auto posting, or like, I don't know, like answering comments like autonomously, all this kind of stuff. Right now, the most important thing is to, as I believe, is to make the core features work perfectly. So perfect onboarding, perfectly set up agent, and super easy setup, and the fact that this agent is very nice and human. So all this stuff with the branding, tone, with all this message buffering stuff I just explained. So all these kind of like concepts, so just you focus on one specific vertical, and you make this like 2, 3, 4, 5 features like work really good. And then only once they're really good, you start to go like in the width. So you start to make more features and start to expand functionality of your app. That's at least my philosophy, and yeah, this is what I'm planning to do over the next few weeks. So yeah, that was it, and I covered pretty much everything what has been going on for the past 2 weeks. And if you enjoy my journey and you want to see where it goes, hit like and subscribe. That helps me a lot, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks a lot.